What happens when a film is so far ahead of its time that audiences literally walk out in confusion? 2001, A Space Odyssey wasn't just a movie, it was a revolution disguised as science fiction. In 1968, viewers fled theaters, baffled by its silence and mystery. But this supposed failure became prophecy, predicting video calls, AI, and proving cinema could transcend entertainment. Today we're uncovering 25 secrets that reveal how Kubrick transformed one film into a cultural monument that still shapes how we imagine the future. Number 1. Two Births, One Odyssey. What if the greatest science fiction film wasn't adapted from a book, but born alongside one? Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke created something unprecedented. They wrote the screenplay and novel simultaneously, each feeding the other. Clarke would draft chapters while Kubrick adjusted the script. Then Clarke would revise again based on the cinematic changes. The book explained mysteries the film deliberately kept opaque, while the film visualized concepts the novel could only describe. This wasn't adaptation, it was dual creation. Two versions of the same story emerged, each incomplete without its twin. The result was a narrative that worked both as literature and cinema, yet neither medium told the complete tale alone. Number 2. 241 people fled the theater. Imagine spending years creating your masterpiece, only to watch hundreds flee the theater on opening night. At the New York premiere, 241 people walked out, including actor Rock Hudson, who reportedly shouted in confusion as he left. Critics demolished it as pretentious and incomprehensible. The film seemed destined for failure, a costly experiment that audiences rejected. But something unexpected happened. Within weeks, young viewers embraced it as a mind-expanding experience. They returned again and again, treating each viewing as a journey rather than entertainment. What began as near disaster transformed into a counterculture phenomenon, proving sometimes the audience needs time to catch up to genius. Number 3. The 19 minutes Kubrick removed. Even perfectionist directors sometimes have second thoughts. After the first week of release, Kubrick made a drastic decision. He cut nearly 20 minutes from his own film, including extended astronaut routines and additional spacecraft sequences. MGM executives later promised never to restore this footage, respecting Kubrick's final vision. But those lost minutes became the stuff of legend among film enthusiasts, sparking endless debates about what was removed. Were these scenes too slow even for Kubrick's standards? Would they have made the film even stranger and more hypnotic? The mystery of the missing footage adds another layer to a movie already built on enigmas. Number 4. The monolith that wouldn't behave. Sometimes the most iconic symbols in cinema history emerge from pure frustration. Kubrick originally envisioned the monolith as a transparent crystal, a gleaming beacon of alien intelligence that would catch light beautifully. But the crystal material created a nightmare. It reflected everything around it, showing crew members, lights, and cameras in every shot. After countless failed attempts to make it work, Kubrick abandoned the idea entirely. His solution was elegantly simple, a black slab of painted wood that absorbed light completely. This featureless design became infinitely more powerful, allowing viewers to project any meaning onto it: God, evolution, or alien intervention. Technical failure birthed cinema's most mysterious symbol. Number 5. HAL's name, the myth that wouldn't die. One of cinema's most persistent conspiracy theories emerged from a simple observation about the alphabet. Sharp-eyed fans noticed that HAL's letters are exactly one step before IBM. This sparked decades of speculation that Kubrick was secretly mocking the tech giant. Arthur C. Clarke denied it repeatedly, insisting HAL stood for heuristically programmed algorithmic computer, but the theory refused to fade away. What made it more intriguing was that IBM actually appeared in the film. Their logos are visible on various panels, and Kubrick even coordinated with the company during production. The myth persisted partly because it felt so brilliantly subversive. Whether intentional or coincidental, the HAL-IBM connection became one of those perfect film theories that fans wanted to believe, proving sometimes the best secrets are the ones that may not even be real. Number 6. When brands lived in space. The future in 2001 wasn't populated by fictional corporations. It was filled with names audiences recognized from their daily lives. Kubrick deliberately chose real brands. Pan Am operated the space shuttles, Hilton ran orbital hotels, Howard Johnson served food at space stations, IBM powered the computers, and Bell provided the picture phones. This wasn't product placement for profit, it was masterful world building. By using familiar brands, Kubrick made his vision of 2001 feel like a natural evolution of 1968, where the companies people knew had simply expanded their reach beyond Earth's atmosphere. The strategy was so effective that when Pan Am went bankrupt in 1991, some mourned not just the airline, but the loss of our imagined spacefaring future. Kubrick understood that the future doesn't erase the present, it builds upon it, carrying our everyday world into the stars. Number 7. The ape men were dancers. Creating convincing prehistoric humans required more artistry than audiences ever suspected. The Dawn of Man sequence featured no actual apes. Instead, mime artist Daniel Richter choreographed actors wearing elaborate yak hair costumes in what became a brutal ballet of early humanity. Richter's background in dance and physical theater proved invaluable. He taught the actors to move with exaggerated yet believable gestures that sold the illusion of evolutionary development, taking its first violent steps toward intelligence. Their movements had to be simultaneously primitive and graceful, brutal, yet somehow touching. This artistic approach gave the scenes an uncanny realism that CGI couldn't have achieved decades later. The result was a performance that felt more authentic than reality itself, proving that sometimes the best special effects are purely human. Number 8. Africa, filmed in England. The vast African landscapes that opened the film were actually created on a soundstage in England using revolutionary front projection technology. A massive reflective screen displayed high-resolution images of actual African terrain while actors performed in the foreground. The technique was so advanced and convincing that most audiences assumed Kubrick had filmed on location in Africa. The illusion was nearly perfect, with only subtle clues betraying the artificial nature, like the occasionally glowing eyes of animals caused by the reflective process. This groundbreaking method allowed Kubrick complete control over lighting and weather, while creating visuals that looked more real than many actual location shoots. It demonstrated how technical innovation could serve artistic vision, creating something that was simultaneously fake and more cinematically powerful than reality. Number 9. The Space Hamster Wheel from Hell. The Discovery's rotating section wasn't just a set piece. It was a 38-foot engineering marvel that weighed 30 tons and cost millions to construct. This massive centrifuge allowed actors to actually run around in complete circles, creating the illusion of artificial gravity in space. The physical demands were brutal. Actors had to time their movements perfectly while the entire structure rotated around them. Meanwhile, crew members watching through viewfinders frequently became motion sick from the constant spinning. Keir Dullea and Gary Lockwood endured hours jogging inside this mechanical beast, their performances requiring both physical stamina and precise timing. The result was footage so convincing that viewers genuinely believed humans could live comfortably in rotating spacecraft, turning grueling practical effects into seamless cinematic reality. Number 10. The Spacesuit Nightmare. Behind Dave Bowman's calm, professional demeanor was an actor fighting for every breath. The spacesuits were practical nightmares, heavy, completely airtight, and suffocatingly hot under the intense studio lights that could reach over 100 degrees. Dullea nearly quit the production because of these conditions. Between takes, he would desperately lean toward hidden fans just to get enough air to continue. The crew eventually drilled tiny ventilation holes in strategic locations, but even then, he often felt waves of panic while filming. On screen, his performance appeared effortlessly controlled and methodical. In reality, every scene in the spacesuit was a battle against claustrophobia and heat exhaustion. This hidden struggle added an unintentional layer of tension to his performance, as viewers sensed something genuine beneath the surface calm. Number 11. The Fire That Nearly Stopped Filming. Disaster struck in 1966 when flames engulfed MGM Borehamwood Studios, threatening to destroy months of meticulous work. The fire damaged several sets and sent crew members scrambling to rescue expensive props and cameras before firefighters could arrive on scene. Production halted for weeks while Kubrick assessed the damage. True to his perfectionist nature, he refused to salvage anything that showed even the slightest smoke damage, insisting that everything be rebuilt completely from scratch. The delays were financially devastating, but Kubrick's uncompromising standards ensured the final film maintained its pristine visual quality. What could have been a production-ending catastrophe became just another obstacle for a director who never accepted anything less than absolute perfection, no matter the cost or time required. Number 12, Daisy Bell, HAL's Last Lullaby. The haunting moment when HAL reverts to singing Daisy Bell wasn't chosen randomly. It connected directly to the real history of computer development. In 1961, Arthur C. Clarke witnessed an IBM computer perform this exact song during a demonstration at Bell Laboratories. By including this specific song, Kubrick created a poignant link between HAL's final moments and the actual birth of computer voice technology. The scene becomes even more powerful, knowing it references a real milestone in artificial intelligence history. As Dave systematically disconnects HAL's higher functions, the machine regresses to its earliest programming, singing like a child, learning its first song. This wasn't just science fiction. It was a meditation on consciousness, memory, and what makes intelligence truly human, all wrapped in a simple, haunting melody. Number 13, The Space Toilet Manual. Kubrick's obsession with authentic detail reached absurd extremes, with a 10-step instruction manual for using the Orion shuttle's zero-gravity toilet facilities. Most viewers never noticed this prop during the film's brief shuttle sequence, but dedicated fans later paused frames to read every word. The lengthy technical directions covered everything from proper restraint procedures to waste disposal protocols. It was the kind of mundane practicality that most filmmakers would ignore, but Kubrick understood that believable futures require believable details. This toilet manual represents Kubrick's world-building philosophy perfectly. Even the most private and basic human functions needed scientific plausibility in his vision of space travel. It's a glimpse into a director's mind where every background element mattered, no matter how briefly it appeared on screen. Number 14, The Actors Who Didn't Know the Story. Kubrick kept his cast deliberately confused about the film's larger meaning and plot structure. Keir Dullea later admitted he thought the astronauts might actually be alien invaders rather than explorers, while Gary Lockwood often filmed scenes without understanding their context within the story. This wasn't cruelty, it was calculated artistic choice. Their genuine confusion and uncertainty translated directly into their performances, creating an authentic sense of disorientation that perfectly matched the audience's experience. The actors looked as puzzled and lost as viewers felt, creating an unusual harmony between performer and audience. Their authentic bewilderment became part of the film's power, proving that sometimes the best performances come from actors who are genuinely experiencing the same emotions as their characters. Number 15, the most famous cut in movie history. Cinema's boldest time jump happens in a single edit, from a bone spinning in prehistoric air to a satellite orbiting Earth 4 million years later. This match cut required months of perfectionist calculation, with Kubrick and editor Ray Lovejoy testing hundreds of variations. They calculated spin rates, trajectories, and precise timing to make the transition feel effortless and inevitable. The bone's rotation had to perfectly match the satellite's movement, creating visual poetry from pure technical precision. What appears to be cinema's simplest cut actually required some of its hardest work. This single edit encapsulates human evolution in one breathtaking moment, proving that even the most basic filmmaking techniques can achieve profound artistic impact when executed with absolute perfectionism and vision. Number 16, the Stargate wasn't CGI, it was chemistry. The psychedelic journey through the Stargate sequence predates computer graphics by decades, created instead through a painstaking technique called slit scan photography. Special effects artist Douglas Trumbull filmed light passing through carefully positioned slits, using exposures that sometimes lasted several minutes per single frame. The process was entirely analog and unpredictable. Each shot was essentially a controlled experiment in light and time. Trumbull couldn't know exactly what patterns would emerge until the film was developed, making every frame a unique piece of abstract art. The results were mesmerizing tunnels of light that seemed to bend reality itself. This chemical approach to visual effects created something no computer could replicate, genuine unpredictability that felt organic and alive. The Stargate sequence remains one of cinema's most hypnotic achievements, born from pure photographic alchemy. Number 17. NASA looked over Kubrick's shoulder. Kubrick hired aerospace consultants like Frederick Ordway to ensure every spacecraft design matched real NASA concept studies and engineering principles. The Discovery vessel and lunar shuttle weren't fantasy creations. They were based on actual space program blueprints and proposals. The authenticity was so convincing that real astronauts joked the film resembled an official NASA training video more than Hollywood entertainment. Every control panel, every instrument, every structural detail reflected current space technology thinking. This blurred line between science fiction and scientific fact added uncanny credibility to the entire production. Viewers sensed they were seeing a realistic preview of humanity's spacefaring future, not just movie magic. Kubrick understood that the best science fiction feels inevitable rather than fantastical. Number 18. The Day-to-Day with IBM. While HAL wasn't meant to represent IBM, the computer giant was deeply involved in the production process. IBM supplied authentic design references, technical specifications, and even allowed their corporate branding to appear throughout the Discovery spacecraft's computer systems. However, Kubrick made one crucial stipulation. Logos could never appear near any of HAL's malfunctions or aggressive behavior. He wanted complete realism without implying that a real corporation had created a dangerous artificial intelligence. This careful balance shows how thoughtfully Kubrick managed authenticity without creating legal problems. He achieved perfect verisimilitude while protecting both his artistic vision and IBM's corporate reputation, demonstrating how even commercial relationships required artistic integrity in his work. Number 19. The color code of the spacesuits. The striking red, yellow, and blue spacesuits weren't just visually dramatic. They carried multiple layers of symbolic and technical meaning. These colors reflected the three primary colors of early color television technology, making them pop brilliantly on screen. Each color also carried psychological undertones that enhanced character development. Red suggested danger and urgency, yellow represented caution and alertness, while blue conveyed calm professionalism and reliability. Even costume design served Kubrick's deeper artistic vision. Every visual element, down to the specific hues of protective gear, was calculated to reinforce the film's themes and emotional landscape. Nothing in his universe was arbitrary. Even the most functional elements carried meaning. Number 20. The models that vanished by design. After filming concluded, Kubrick made a shocking decision. He ordered the destruction of nearly all spacecraft models and major props. The Discovery model alone measured 54 feet in length and represented months of intricate craftsmanship that would be priceless today. His reasoning was protective. He feared other productions might reuse these masterpieces in cheap knockoff films, diluting the uniqueness of his vision. Rather than risk that degradation, he chose complete elimination. These models were smashed, burned, or simply discarded as trash. Master craftsmen watched their detailed work destroyed to preserve artistic integrity. It was a ruthless decision that demonstrated how seriously Kubrick guarded his creative legacy, even at the cost of destroying irreplaceable cinematic artifacts. Number 21. Kubrick wanted to copyright Aliens. The director's paranoia about protecting his vision reached extraordinary lengths when he consulted lawyers about legally copyrighting the concept of extraterrestrial life. Kubrick worried that another filmmaker might beat him to theaters with their own alien portrayal, potentially undermining his film's impact and originality. He even went so far as to contact NASA scientists, requesting they notify him immediately if alien life was discovered before 2001's premiere. This wasn't just professional concern. It was obsessive fear that reality itself might spoil his artistic creation. The irony is that Kubrick ultimately chose never to show aliens directly, keeping them mysterious and abstract. His legal paranoia about protecting something he never planned to reveal shows the incredible lengths he went to guard every aspect of his creative process. Even hypothetical competition from other directors, or the universe itself, was considered a threat to his artistic control. Number 22. The hair-raising leopard scene. One of the film's most dangerous moments involved a real leopard attacking a stuntman dressed as an early human ancestor. The big cat wasn't animated or mechanical. It was a living predator that had to be carefully managed during the brief but crucial dawn of man sequence. A brave stuntman in a realistic ape costume had to lie motionless under the leopard, while animal trainers watched nervously from just outside the camera frame. The shot was captured in mere seconds, but required extensive rehearsal under genuinely life-threatening conditions. This scene represents the extreme lengths Kubrick would go for authenticity, even when it meant putting human lives at risk. Modern safety standards would never allow such a dangerous setup, making this footage a unique artifact from a time when filmmaking pushed boundaries that seem unthinkable today. The brief attack sequence carries real tension because the danger was absolutely genuine. Number 23. Nearly got overtaken by reality. Kubrick lived in constant fear that NASA's Apollo program would successfully land on the moon before his film reached theaters, potentially making 2001 look outdated overnight. He pushed his special effects team relentlessly to ensure their lunar sequences would rival any real footage that might emerge. The pressure was enormous. They were essentially racing against one of humanity's greatest achievements. Every crater, every shadow, every detail of lunar movement had to be perfect enough to compete with actual space exploration documentation. The ultimate irony came when Neil Armstrong did land on the moon in 1969. Instead of making Kubrick's work obsolete, the real footage was so similar to his vision that conspiracy theorists accused him of secretly filming the moon landing for the government. This wild theory proved just how convincing his space sequences were. They looked more real than reality itself, creating a legend that persists decades later. Number 24. The ending you'll never see. Early script drafts included elaborate alien civilizations, complete with crystalline cities and exotic architecture. Kubrick even began constructing sets for these otherworldly locations, spending considerable money on designs that audiences would never witness. But as production progressed, he made a radical decision to scrap all literal alien imagery. He feared that any concrete depiction of extraterrestrial life would look fake or disappointing, no matter how much money was spent on the effects. Instead, he chose pure abstraction, Dave's transformation into the mysterious star child, leaving everything open to interpretation. By refusing to show aliens directly, he created something far more powerful than any special effect could achieve. The invisible became infinite, and audiences have debated the meaning for over 5 decades. Sometimes the most powerful images are the ones that exist only in viewers' imaginations, proving that limitation can be the ultimate creative freedom. Number 25. The narrator who disappeared. Kubrick originally filmed extensive documentary-style narration, featuring real scientists explaining the story's scientific concepts and philosophical implications. These sequences were designed to guide audiences through the film's more challenging moments and provide clear exposition. During editing, however, he made a crucial decision to remove every trace of explanatory narration. He realized that explanation would destroy the mystery and wonder that made the film unique, reducing it to just another science fiction adventure with clear answers. By eliminating the narrator, Kubrick transformed 2001 from a story into an experience, from entertainment into art. Audiences were forced to interpret rather than simply consume, creating personal relationships with the material that varied from viewer to viewer. This bold choice elevated cinema itself, proving that films could trust audiences to think, feel, and create their own meanings. The silence became more eloquent than any words could have been. 2001: A Space Odyssey didn't just predict the future, it actively shaped how we imagine tomorrow, from video calls that seemed impossible in 1968 to artificial intelligence that now surrounds our daily lives. More importantly, Kubrick proved that cinema could transcend entertainment to become genuine art, philosophy, and even prophecy wrapped in moving images. The film's influence extends far beyond science fiction, inspiring generations of filmmakers to push boundaries and trust audiences with complex, challenging material. Its visual language became the template for how we depict space travel, while its themes about technology, evolution, and human consciousness remain startlingly relevant. If you enjoyed uncovering these hidden secrets behind one of cinema's greatest achievements, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into film history. What do you think the monolith truly represents? Alien intervention, evolutionary catalyst, or something else entirely? Share your theories in the comments below.